This introduction will cover land cover, and this is Module 4 in Making Spatial Decisions Using GIS and Remote Sensing. So here's an example of the National Land Cover Database map on the right, and you can see that there is a sample legend that is displayed on the left with classifications from the 1992 versions. And there are different land cover classifications starting with open water. It has a code of 11, and the rectangle is showing is blue. And then you can scroll down through the several different types of land cover, and at the bottom is emergent herbaceous wetlands with a code of 92, and it is a different shade of blue. So those numbers would be considered to be metadata. And if you were to look at the metadata for the NLCD, those numbers would be coded to the titles that you see in this legend. So land cover information can be determined using either visual analysis or digital analysis, which we talked about in lecture. So an example of visual analysis would be looking at this riverine system that you see on the left, and there is a river going through it, and you can see grasslands and trees and shrubs and the water. And so you can identify things using photography or satellite imagery based on your real-world experience. On the right is a digital classification, and this is a sample of defining water classes from an area in Zambia, Africa. If you look closely, you can see that in the training sample manager, there are different land cover classifications of water, riverine, which would be wetlands. There's also open grass and mopani. So those are special types of vegetation that are unique to an African savanna. You can see the red polygons on the water bodies, and those are ROIs, or those are the regions of interest, which is being used to teach the computer how to recognize water. So remember from lecture, if you don't, please review, that there is a difference between vector and raster. So on the left, we would have our vector representation of buildings in orange, roads in a lighter orange, and then there are different land covers shown in blues, greens, and yellow. On the right is the same representation of that spatial area with raster depiction. And so you can see that there is still a road in orange, and there are buildings, and then the different land covers. So for this module, you will be creating some deliverables, and your base map should be a professional PDF map layout. So make sure that you include a title, a data source, which is shown on top of the aerial, or I'm sorry, the satellite photograph here. It comes by default with this version of ArcMap. There's a north arrow, a scale bar, and there is author and projection information. You want to make sure that you include map elements in a professional PDF map layout. You should also have neat lines, which can be considered to be the frame around your entire map area. With your digitized map, digitized water, vegetation, and developed areas, or deliverable 2, you can just include a screenshot of your ArcMap session. So we have the session open here, and you can see that the attribute table is open, and the polygons that are highlighted in the attribute table are also showing in the window in the middle of this screenshot. So the snapping toolbar is open, the editor toolbar is open, and you can also see that Arc Catalog is open. And for deliverable 3, you will want to submit a map of reclassified 2006 land cover data. This can also be a screenshot. So please pay attention in your modules to what is required as a PDF and what is acceptable as just a screenshot. For deliverable 4, you need to submit a chart that compares the accuracy of your two methods, either a table or a bar graph. I show both here. You don't need to submit both, but you do need to compare your vector area versus your raster area, and then discuss or show the difference. So in the table, there are square meter values for vector and raster, and then there's the difference of the two methods. And then in the bar graph, you can see that there's a comparison of the water, vegetation, and developed, and then the total is compared at the end. So how you do that is up to you. And that's it for the deliverables. For tech help, I want you to see the next screenshot. Please remember, or this might be new information, to utilize ESRI technical blogs where appropriate. You can search the ESRI website for technical blog help, and once you get into that ESRI site, you can search for terms, and you can also use YouTube. Oftentimes there are workarounds and there are helpful videos. I will point those out to you as much as I can, but please get good at searching out help functions and ESRI technical blogs, YouTube, etc. And of course, you can email me if you have any difficulties. So here's the screenshot that I was talking about. So just some tips that when you digitize your polygons, you will want to have your editor toolbar open, and you want to save edits on the editor toolbar. And then if you right-click on the layer in the table of contents called Digitize, you can open up that table, and it will help you to see what you're highlighting. So that concludes the introduction to Module 4. I hope you enjoy.